For reasons you'll understand shortly, Ga Wath is the placement of the devil, of the tarot card, number 15, for the Drill Sergeant Gray, Nexion. Now, Ga Wath is listed as Dark God's Path, number 8, in the Order of Nine Angles system. But if you look at the placement of Mercury, the Sun, this is where we have the tarot card entitled The Devil, usually placed. Now, I don't think it's necessary for me to put the I or whatever other letter of whatever particular alphabet you could connect to this on every card. Now, other possibilities of where to put that number are where to put Ga Wath are shown with the other numbers, showing their placement on the body that we are going through. So, Christios Beast has his Ga Wath card as number 17. And we refer to an inner power, an eagle eating. We have the birth defect double-headed child bit there at the top. We have the double crystal shaped bit. So I guess it's 8 sides total. Or maybe you could say 6 sides, right? Because your typical Order of Nine Angles crystal that everybody's supposed to have is a 4-sided one. Preferably of quartz, preferably of a particular size. And it's fractured a little bit from use. And inscribing the signs of use, there are 15 marks in red representing blood of the life given. We have a chart of different genders and all that presented there. We have as the stand that the male and female being are connected to. Capricornus right there on it. And this is an old French card, right? And it was hand painted, so it's not so precisely done at times. We have the Ga Wath sigil. And there's, of course, the reference to the horse's head. I use the blue Roan variety of horse. And the cold music, well, I used a picture of Coldplay at the piano. And there's a working, a willing working, a working of being connected. That is the awareness by vision or otherwise of the path. Some are going to connect things to change or fulfillment, a dynamic of twisting, as you could say. And others, perhaps, are going to think of Saturn. Saturn as exalted, Moon as diminishing, and Mars sort of the peak. So Saturn's the ruler, and Saturn's the, like, it's similar to the moon, the Earth sign when you think of the Earth sign, but it's more directly in terms of the heavenly forces. Now, I've gone over elsewhere about the chronic lessons more directly in terms of the devil in the 78 verses that mention Shaitan, Shayatin as the plural, the 15 Iblis verses, the 31 Jinn verses. So perhaps one thing that I could say something about quickly here, or maybe go over it a lot more than one would say, is there's the references to Ha-Shathan. And Ha-Shathan is, I think that's the continual scourge. And that word is, it's people say it's a misspelling, but I don't think so. We have anything from Numbers 22:32 coming out as one who afflicts. And for an adversary, Numbers 22:22, so 32:22. We also have 1 Samuel 29:4, where you become an adversary. 2 Samuel 19:22 makes us question who the adversary of us may be. And some adversaries are evil or whatnot to anybody, and that would be 1 Kings 5:4. 1 Kings 11:14, Solomon as the chief would, there was an adversary to him, another adversary to him. Well, a trial to him might be the better term, because an adversary and somebody that's a scourge to your existence. So 1 Kings 11:23, 1 Kings 11:25, 1 Chronicles 21:1, and more famously, Job 1:6, sort of the contest between God and Satan, as you could say, happens there. And Satan is just another being present. And Job 1:7 happens twice. Satan is communicated with, Satan answers. Job 1:8, Satan is asked to consider things. Job 1:9, Satan answers. Job 1:12, Satan gets power. And Job 1:12 again, Satan gets permission. Job 2:1, there's open communication between Satan and increasing existence, God. And Job 2:2, Satan being questioned by God. Satan being willing to, respond. Job 2:2 again. Job 2:3. Again, Satan's asked to consider. Job 2:4, Satan answers. Job 2:6, Satan beholds. Job 2:7, Satan goes out. Psalm 109:6. And Satan getting control, so a continual scourge. But as we see in the thing there, oh yeah, the sigil, I'm giving it pink because again, it's where you direct things. So your desire or your will or your spiritual intention or whatever, this is something fluid and movable. A lot of the gender stuff is per se pretend or whatnot, but we can kind of get some of that there. Um, and Ga Wath is, of course, one of those symbols or names or chants that is more applicable to other places, right? Um, and people say, yeah. So I'm working with something different. So what is this? What is this symbol, right? You have like a triangle that points up, a little thing hanging down. I don't know. You think like a clock, but it puts out like a light, and maybe there's a string to power the clock or something. I just think of, and if you center each one in a sphere of one of the seven, we are of course looking into more of them. Um, and so there's some meaning. The power within me is great, is what people say. And the devil card, because of the take off the natural man and God of this world and age stuff, the Bible, I think we end up with this idea of nature, raw and unaffected, nature returned to, the power to accuse, the power of existence, reality, temporary life, and all that. Um, Terror, essentially, to the uninitiated. But again, every emotion is something that's open to us, right? And I'm trying to, in the Quran for the devil card, we turn to Surah 4, 119, 120. And basically, you know, you turn to the nature that's there. So rather than the twist upon it that others have put upon you, um, the conservative, the liberal, the mundane, however you want to, the secular, however you want to talk about it, you um, kind of look at things in that other direction. And honestly, in the order nine angles material, what you're going to use in terms of any particular tarot card is something that is, it's up to you. You should learn. They're just examples, so you can learn how to do these things. Now, the sea goat, the mountain goat, however you want to term this, one of my earlier experiences of a sacred year that wasn't like part of one of the main religions or something was the goat year. And I don't remember how that went, but it's important that I get to the goat year. Now, one of the traditions about about the new year, as most people in the West are going to observe it, is because a couple astrological ages ago, we have the reference to Thor, and there's some myths that go back to about that time, a couple astrological ages ago. Um, the December sign was Capricorn. Now we're a couple over. We're that would be Scorpio. So this card would be more like the February card. And so goat's milk, or powdered goat's milk, as I've been using for years, is something that I use for my Imulk seasonals. And so any of these signs can represent something about that time. And of course, as I said, Thor is more of the reference there. And we can look at the particular stars involved. And, oh, what is it? Deneb and Nashiri, and we can think of Pan. We can think of the scapegoat. We can think of Capricorn as sort of a divine gate. And so hence that reference to Wath as being a key. If you put it in the position of Capricorn, it forms an astrological reference to a key that opens a gate, throwing off of the outer garment, the cloak, so tearing the veils, the use of the knee and the kneecap, and the capital, the center of the society that you're in. Gita Prima is a star that you may want to look at. We have the rest of the ones there. We have the reference to the chevron symbol that's on the army thing. Of course, we need to be ready, army of one, in a way. Not that you're, wandering around doing something that's basically going to be limited to a movie, but, there's some things there. Strength and solitary. You're personally sanctifying things. This is the card for the lone practitioner. Now, I tried to have something show up on the screen here, but I'm not having the camera is not reading it right now. So we have your typical red guy with a pitchfork and a pointy tail, and I guess he's got some chicken feet. So one thing that may be talked about is some particular not so cute, pleasant, fierce forms. Bat wing, hairy legs, chicken's feet, claw. The devil is what inverts your standard order. The devil is what attracts and shapes the various drives and perceptions, coming from before and behind and from each side. I've already talked about Baphomet. I don't think that's the same figure. For one, because we're gendering that. So we might mix that with our Earth card, our Saturn by itself card. The naked truth is that by which we make our pact. We connect by the mind and the spirit. the chains are, sort of willing, right? And whatever side we choose, we are doing things in a realm of duality. Of course, this is the card of satire. So we're going to run into that. Now, hedonist, maybe that's why there's two spheres, is the drop the ball. Because your typical setup of the tree, the dropping of the ball on New Year's in Times Square, that's what that's from. But they would bring a pair of goats and they would drop the ball, but there'd be different signs of the planets and stuff circled around that tree. Oh, that could be what the symbol is in its own way. Aleister Crowley uses a very phallic drawing, a bunch of figures on each side circling around, and the only dude with horns is the dude mooning you, which is, we're not doing that here. So mirth and stability facing the real, but we don't need to be stuck in materialism to understand that. Of course, some people that may be their gate towards more as they get stuck in materialism, and that opens themselves up to sense about one's process. It's a very creative sort of card. And perhaps there's more I would say, but I'm going to stop here and